Okay, the graphing test. That's the one that theoretically you could be taking right now. Instead, my class is taking a practice test today. You're going to take it on Monday because I was gone for a day, kind of threw off my timings. I hadn't warned you about this test, etc. So anyway, we are going to go through today a couple more of the harder R3 kind of questions that you need to know how to do for the graphing test. And the first thing I want you to do is just a basic one and make sure you get what's going on with this because that's the bulk of the test. I want you to graph that. I want you to see where they cross. I want you to see where to shade underneath it. Remember when you do y1 is this and y2 is that, then you're going to have your third line be y1.
Interruption. I'm looking for Alex Rob.
Okay, here we go. On y1, the y1 line is supposed to be 2x minus 3. Where does the absolute value, excuse me, don't talk right now. Thank you. It's under catalog, close, so it's right there, catalog, and I need absolute value, and then I need 2x minus 3, so here we go, 2x minus 3, and then I get out of that with the arrow key, and then I'm going to go, is the y2 line, y2 is 8, so I hit enter, get down here to 8, enter, I am recording, and it's okay to check. Then I'm going to move over here and change this from a greater than to a less than or equal. Where is that thing found? It's under catalog again. Catalog, and then I just arrow up a whole bunch of times until I find less than or equal to. Stop talking. Gentlemen, seriously, I can find spots in the hallway for you. They're kind of nice, cool floor. It's very comfortable. Be better for me anyway. Okay. So less than or equal to is right there, so I'm going to hit enter. Good. Now I hit graph, and now it even tells me where the one is under the other, and it even shades in to show me that's the part of the number line you would want shaded in. It's not the outsides, it's on the inside. Okay, so it would look kind of like this. Here's my two spots shaded on the inside. What are my two spots though? They are those two spots where they touch. So you'd use your calculator, second calculate intersect, to tell where these two lines touch, which is right here and right here. Okay, and I assume you guys already did that part, so you should have a positive and a negative number. Can somebody tell me the positive number? 5.5, and the negative number? Negative 2.5, thank you, there we go. And then if you had to make this a bracket or not a bracket, you decide based on this sign. If it says or equal to, it's a bracket, negative 2.5, comma 5.5. All right, that's the basic. There's a lot of that kind of stuff you have to know for the test. What if it had just said equals instead? Then all you care about is the two spots they touch. If all it had said was equals, if this said equals right there, you would just answer with x equals this and x equals that. You would not have to do the whole shading it in and writing the interval thing. You just say x equals this and x equals that. So the equals ones are easier. Yes, ma'am. Number lines, here, do you have to make a number line? No, you don't have to make a number line, but I will tell you if you try to go directly from this to this, you make more mistakes. It's sort of like saying, a kid saying, if I can add 233 plus 41 without lining them up, is that okay? Well, yeah, you can do it, but it's smarter to line it up. So I think it's smarter to have a number line, but it can work without lining them up or without having a number line. All right, let's talk about some more things we haven't really talked about much. You have to be able to translate. I'm going to tell you an equation in words. I want you to translate it into an equation that you could put into a calculator. Okay, so try to translate this. These can be tough. Two consecutive numbers are added together. The answer is 9. How do you write an equation for that? Two consecutive numbers are added together. The answer is 9. You cannot use two letters like X and P or something. So if you have X, what's the next consecutive number? What's the next number after X? No, they can't change letters. What do you think?
X plus 1.
Yes. Do you get how it's the next consecutive number is just one bigger, right? So if you have like 5, it goes up to 6, right? So it's just one bigger. So x and x plus 1. All right, so there's my 2 consecutive numbers. And then what did I say about them? What about them, though? Do I add them, multiply them? Yep, add them, and they equal 9. There you go. Now that's an equation, and you could graph both sides, see where they cross. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let's try another one. 2 consecutive odd numbers are multiplied, and they give you 63. 2 consecutive odd numbers are multiplied and equal 63. Now use your calculator and solve it. 2 consecutive odd numbers are multiplied and give you 63. Now, that one is easy enough that you could guess and check it, but I hope you don't just do that and think, oh, I can do this, because the problems on the test will not be ones you can guess and check on. They'll like be the sum of two things is 7,492, and their product is 87, and you'll be like, oh man, I have no idea how to do that in my head. All right, so what are my 2 consecutive odd numbers again? Well, n, or x, and then what's the other one? N plus 1. Those are my 2. No, consecutive odd numbers wouldn't just add 1, would they? Minus would actually work, but I don't want to go that way. I want to add because it's easier. And then n plus, doesn't it get, if I count by 2s, watch. 7, 9, 11, 13. Get what I'm doing? I'm adding 2 every time, aren't I? Consecutive odd numbers, you would have to add 2. All right, trying these? Try it, really. So this is 2 consecutive odd numbers, and I said their product, what does that mean? Multiply them. Would be 63. Now would you please take a calculator, graph both sides, see where they cross, and you'll get 2 answers. One of them is negative and kind of weird. The other one's a normal, nice, normal, positive number, and then you can say, oh, if they're 2 consecutive odd numbers, it must be this and this. All right. I'm going to write this a little smaller here. N times n plus 2 equals 63, and I'm going to graph and see where they cross. I got clear this, clear that, and I don't have an or equals thing, so I'm going to just clear that out of there. I'm going to go up here. So this one was 63, and the one on the top is the n times n plus 2. And I'm going to say x times x plus 2 n parentheses. Now, if you're just watching me do this, you have like about a 10% chance of remembering how to do it. If you're actually trying it, you have like an 80% chance of remembering it. It's a huge difference. Okay, I can't see where they cross because one of my lines is at what? 63, so I better go to window, and to make my, I got to go higher. What's that, x or y? To go higher. That's y. So y max of 63 or so on, I just go 70. Always go more than whatever you think, because then at least you can see it. And if it isn't quite at the top, that's okay. There we go. I can see 2 things crossing. All right, so now I can see them. And I wanted equals, so I wanted second calculate intersect. Please save me the time. What did you get? -9, it was an interesting option. -9 is one of the places that they crossed, but that is not necessarily an odd number combination I'd want to use, but it actually will work. The other one was what? 7. All right, I'd use that one. 7, and then what's the next odd number? 9. And isn't 7 times 9 equal to 63? There's 2 consecutive odd numbers at 63. By the way, boys and girls, you just did an FST. No, not an FST. Sorry, got that on the brain right now because they just opened up a FST. What's it called? ACT. There we go. An ACT question. 2 consecutive odd numbers. have a product of 63. What are they? Except they will not make it nice numbers because they don't want kids going, let me see, 9 times 7 is 63. They'll make them like big ones, like 27 and 29. Things you wouldn't be able to do in your head. Consecutive means the next logical one. But odd numbers, remember 7 and 8, for instance, aren't both odd numbers. That's why we got to use n plus 2 to make it an odd one. All right, so anyway, that is a typical ACT question. It really is. I've seen ACT, I do a lot of like prep for those, and I've seen ACT books, and they say this is one of the favorite questions on an ACT. Is consecutive odd numbers or consecutive even numbers. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about translating. Let's say that I had 6 times 4 less a number cubed. 6 times 4 less a number cubed. 6 times 4 less a number cubed. Do you agree so far? 6 times 4 less a number cubed. Nope. A number cubed. As soon as I say a number cubed, it's the number cubed, n cubed. I know you might be thinking that you could put this in parentheses, but whenever we want you to put it in parentheses, we're going to be telling you something called the quantity. Have you ever heard that? 6 times the quantity, 7 plus n, would mean 6 times the quantity, 7 plus n. The quantity means parentheses like that. All right, I'll give you another one. 4 minus 7 times the quantity, n squared plus 8. 6 minus 4 times the quantity, and then what did I say? Wait a minute. 6 minus 4 times the quantity. Okay. I gotta make sure I know what I said. 4 minus 7, everybody say. Great, guys agree I said that? Yeah. Okay, good. And then the quantity was one of these dealy bobs. Look right here. Look for those little numbers changing. All right. That's all right. 4 minus 7 times the quantity, and what was in the quantity? N squared plus 8. All right. Those can be hard. All right, so now that I got that, I'm going to go less than or equal to, and you all know what that means. The absolute value of 6 times a number less 2. Six times a number less 2. There we go. Now, I don't need you to graph this one, but if you did, graph both sides, and you wouldn't just see where they cross, would you? You'd say where this one is compared to the V. This is a parabola, is compared to a V shape, and what would I want? I want less than. What does that mean? Under or over? Under. And do you remember how to put in that y1 is less than y2 thing on your calculator? See where to shade? Okay. All right. Then the last thing to talk about is word problems. They are one of the harder things we do in here. You will have 1 or 2 on this test where you've got to draw a shape, label the shape, figure out what formula you want, and then take the numbers from your picture and put them in your formula. Let me do one for you real quick. Say I was going to make a garden in my backyard. It's going to be a circle. And I want the circle to have a total area. I'm going to actually do this kind of. I'm going to have blueberries in my backyard. I love blueberries. And they apparently have these new bushes now. Not necessarily that new, but I just heard about them last year. Where they have blueberries that just give crazy, blueberry bushes give crazy amounts of blueberries. So that you have like 4 or 5 of these bushes, and you'll have all you can possibly eat, and you'll be like giving them to other people. I love blueberries, so I got to try this. So anyway, I'm going to have this big circle where you have to prepare the ground a special way because blueberries like the ground kind of acidic. And so they like to live in certain kind of soil. So I have to put certain stuff in the soil to make this work. So I wanted a circle to be, let's see, I want the radius of this circle, and I'm gonna have a square inside that circle where I actually plant all my blueberries. All right, so I want this to be so that, what's that? As inscribing? Yes, there's like a special way to inscribe. We're not going to make you do the fancy drawing of it, but now what if I said that the radius of this circle was x? Notice I drew it to the corner there where it would be touching the corner of the box. If the radius of the circle is x and the area of my circle is 300 square feet, then how long is the side of my square? That would be the question. All right, so here's how I would do it. First thing, did I label my circle and square? Yeah, but I haven't labeled how long this is compared to this. Okay, just for a second, can you imagine that I could make this into a big triangle where this side is x and this side is x? Yes. Okay, and then I could figure out something about this height here. And if this is half of the, oh man, I made a really hard problem. You won't have one this hard. I'm gonna give you an easier one. Sorry, I'm gonna give you an easier one where it's just a rectangle. I'm gonna make it triangle, twice as tall as it is as its base. And then I'm gonna do perimeter on this one. And I'm gonna say that I have a fence to put around my blueberry patch, and my fence is 30 feet long. All right, so I've got my picture drawn and labeled, that's good. And now, what's this third side? That would be something I'd expect you to be able to figure out. How do you find the third side of a triangle? There's some formula for that. Yes, you actually could use trig. You could use trig, but it's probably over your head. We're going to do heavy-duty trig later this year. For right now, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you could go, here's a formula I know. To get this side right here, I'm going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And a is like x squared plus 2x squared is equal to c squared. And then I put it all together and get the c alone, so I get the square root. So I'm going to do square root and square root. And technically, you should know that's the absolute value of c. But since I can't have a negative side length, it really doesn't matter. And so there's my answer right there. Whew. The square root of x squared plus 2x quantity squared. All right. Now, the fence is 30 feet long. This side here plus this side here plus this side here makes a total of 30 feet. So x, oh wait a minute, what's the formula for perimeter? Do you remember this? This might be handy. Don't remember? Then you might want to write it down. Perimeter is 2 lengths plus 2, no wait, not on a triangle. Sorry. The perimeter of a triangle is the base plus the height plus, what's that other side? No, this side. I guess we could call it C. Yep. Now, do you get that I gave you the perimeter? All right. And the base? X. And the height? 2x. And the C, we even figured that out. Square root of x squared plus 2x squared. Whew. That was a tough one. But you'd graph both sides, see where they cross. That would tell you what x is. What are the steps? I'm going to give you a little bit simpler one to do yourself in a minute. But the steps were I draw my picture and label it with all the sides that I can. Like in this case, I had to figure out that was the hardest side using a squared, b squared, c squared. Then I make a formula. Then I stick the numbers into the formula. And then I graph both sides and see where they cross. All right, so here's one for you. Let's say that you have you're supposed to clear an area in your backyard to make a garden. And it's going to be 3 times... No, let's do it this way. The width on the one side is unknown. But the length is going to be 10 feet longer than the width. The length is 10 feet longer than the width. Then, how much area should we make it? Did I tell you a number yet? Okay, the area is going to be, let's say, 500 square feet. All right, you draw your shape. You label both sides. Then you write the formula, the general formula, and you stick in everything I told you. And then you can be able to graph both sides and see where they cross. All right, if you use W, you can use X. It'd be fine, whatever letter you want. What would this other side be if it's 10 feet longer? W plus 10. 10 feet longer does not mean 10 times longer. Some people do 10x. You're missing the point. And then the area is length times width. Do I know the area? Yes, I'm going to put in a number, 500. Do I know my length? No, so I put W plus 10. Do I know my width? Yes, it's W. I mean, I don't know what it is yet, but I call it W. There, I got a nice little formula. I can graph both sides, see where they cross. Go ahead, take your calculator, graph both sides. Make sure you set your window high so that you can get up and see the 500 line. And remember, the negative one, you don't even bother looking at that, because can the side of a garden be negative length? No. So don't even bother with your negative solution. All right, so I'm going to go in here, and this time it's 500. 500. Delete out the rest of this stuff. And then I'm going to use X, of course. Oh, no, wait, I have to have parentheses. Parentheses, X plus 10, end parentheses. Wrong kind of parentheses. There we go. Times X. Hit enter. Hit graph. I can see my parabola. Can't see the line going across the top. Why? Probably really high. It's at 500. Let me see what my window's at. Oh, my window's max Y is only 70. So I got to get up above 500. So I'm going to go to 600. And I'm going to try it down. Now I can't see far enough over. Can you see where I should go? Right or left? Right. So I got to go farther this way, which is what? X. I got to make my X bigger. So I go to Window, X, X max. X max is only 10. Yeah, I got to get way bigger on that. Let's make that like 300 or something. I don't know what it should be, but try it. See if it works. Graph. Can I see where they cross? Yes. As long as I can see them crossing, I'm going to go second. Calculate. Intersect. Enter, enter, enter. Because there's only one I need, I'm going to just be able to do it quick. I don't need to look for the negative one, because that wouldn't work anyway. 17.9. So what did I just figure out? X is 17, or W in this case, is 17.9. What if they asked you for the length, and you, after all that work, put 17.9? Do you get what I'm saying? Don't just assume that the number you've got at the end is your answer. That is this one. So if they want the dimensions, you'd have to give both answers. Or if they just want the length, you'd have to give the 17.9 plus 10, which would be 27.9 answer. So just be careful you actually answer the question that they asked you. All right, that's word problems. And now, for the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to have you take a practice of the graphing test. And then if we don't have time to go over the answers as thoroughly as you would want, the answers for both the thing I assigned you yesterday and for this graphing functions practice assessment, they're both in the same folder in that Google folder full of answers. Okay, so they're all linked on the website. You can get the answers for both the worksheet and this at home tonight. But I do want to show this to you at the end, and as far as you got, anyway, we'll get that graded in class. All right, 3, 4. All right, that's all I got for the video for